internet. My name is Ash, Gen 1 was the best one, and welcome to a thing. So for those of you that don't know, while English is my main language, I also speak Korean-ish, asterisk, it's...
Oh no, is it slipping, dear?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I barely even have a desire to keep learning.
Are you starting to let something that you once had fall through the cracks?
Well, I mean, I don't like to say that.
Is everything you once had that supposedly made you a genius as a small child started to become slowly normalized to the point where you feel like you can't keep up with your age anymore? Are the sands of time cascading so gracefully to the ground as you reach out for a totem of the past? That maybe, just maybe, you may refer to yourself as a bilingual simply so you can say that you are superior to your peers just that little bit in your own mediocre glory?
You know what? I'm not even mad at you, Adelaide. That's just impressive. You've only known me for like a month and have only existed for like a month. How do you know me so painfully well?
Well, you see, the Lord Susan Wojcicki did have me trained in YouTube-like algorithmic thinking when I was a child.
As in you were taught to think like the YouTube algorithm? Should I be scared?
Oh no, it's just a little party trick if anything. It's not like she put me through a 23-month training program in which I was taught never to enjoy a social situation without completely psychoanalyzing each and every one of my peers for the slightest hint of political dissonance. Oh no.
Okay then. Anyway, on top of speaking Korean, asterisk, I'm also a second-year Japanese student, and a lot of my family members are actually fluent in both, what with the Japanese occupation of Korea and the decades of oppression against my people. Man, am I a traitor to the Korean race for wanting to learn Japanese? But anyway, I was talking to my grandma on Zoom the other day. She's fluent in both, but not English, and so I was doing this weird amalgamated conglomeration of the two languages, and it occurred to me that my understanding of the Japanese and Korean languages are really like fundamentally different. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way that I was taught them. I was born in Korea, so Korean is naturally my first language, and because of that, I can't tell you what any of the particles in Korean mean to save my mother's life. Because realistically, English native speakers riddle me this. What is the meaning of the word what? Or to? Or for? Or of? What is the meaning of the word the? Define the for me!
The or the, denoting one or more things already mentioned or presumed to be common knowledge. What? You haven't categorically organized a dictionary that was trained into your head by your tutor at the Lord Susan Wojcicki's manor? No? Just me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty sure that's just you, Adelaide. Where were we? Oh, right, yeah, the meaning of the word the. I can tell you, however, that the Japanese particle wa is a topic marker that emphasizes that which comes after it. Ga is a subject marker, often used in tandem with wa, and meaning roughly the same thing, with the key difference being that ga puts the emphasis on that which comes before it. To is used to create a list of nouns and connect them all together, or to mean that something is being done with something, etc., 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 etc. I've been thinking a lot about that phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that oftentimes you can take a longer or a shorter path to water, or you can draw the horse away from the water, which will only make it want to drink more. You can take them to different parts of the pond. You can take them to entirely separate ponds altogether. The quality and quantity of water that each horse is getting is going to be different, so on and so forth. Take the Japanese word itsumo, meaning always. By the way, do not quote me on any of this, I beg of you. I am not an expert, I'm not even a fluent Japanese speaker. This whole thing is just like the potato banana video, okay? This is just me with my weird brain that likes to go weird places, going weird places on camera, and then you guys watch my brain go weird places because y'all are weird. If we break apart that word, itsumo, itsu means when, and I'm guessing that mo is supposed to be short for mo, which means to, from watashi mo, which is one of the first sentences that you learn in year 1 Japanese, meaning me too. So I guess itsumo doesn't necessarily mean forever or always, as it means when two? Or time two? Or like time doesn't matter or something along those lines? I cannot decide for the life of me whether that's really poetic or really, really weird.
Well, you see, I am inclined to believe that it is a little bit of both. Okay, maybe a lot of both.
That's better. I'm doing pretty good in both Japanese and English class. Bow down to my Asian superiority, you peasants. Ironically, I screwed up the spelling of the word peasants as I wrote that very sentence into the script. Twice. God fucking damn it! And I think this is why I do well in those classes. I'm drinking from the pond in a very particular way, and I'm taking a slightly longer path to the water so that when I actually get there, I'm parched enough to want to drink more than the other horses at the pond. Jesus Christ, this metaphor is getting really out of control.
Permission to burn this whole thing with fire?
Permission granted.
Very well. Ahem. Be gone, thought!
Let's look at another example. I know this is a weird one, but I promise it will prove my point just fine. Let's look at the word excruciating. Cruciating makes me think of a crusade, and I know X is a negative particle, so the opposite of a crusade? Usually when I do these deconstruction type things, I do tend to go to Father Google a lot of the time, and I think now is a pretty good time to mention the difference between a crusade and the Crusades. The Crusades are the ones that we're all thinking of right now. Old Papa Pope boy is in the Vatican, finally taking a break from having his fun with the little boys, and their eyes are just saying, "This doesn't seem very holy to me, Father." Jesus, cut that out. Cut. The Crusades are the bloody wars for the Holy Land or some shit like that we're all thinking of, but a crusade is just a campaign with a lot of passion behind it. So when you say, for example, that, I don't know, taking your wisdom teeth out is excruciating pain, you are saying that the pain is so bad that it makes you lose all of your worldly desires and passions. Essentially, something that is excruciating is something that is so bad that it takes the meaning away from life. So that's fun. Okay, but in all seriousness, learning what a word really means by deconstructing it is a more roundabout way of learning something that definitely does take longer than just reading the dictionary definition, but once you actually get there, miles more interesting than wordly wise, no red ink, use the word in 3 sentences, that kind of bullshit, Grammarly advertisements. This is where we get to something I like to call semi-translinguistic thinking, which is something that you probably do, but you just don't know that you do it, really. Yeah.
Oh, golly, here we go.
Shut up, Adelaide! It's my video! I was originally thinking of finding a way to give advice to my struggling classmates on how to do better at Japanese. I'm sorry, that was an honest mistake, but God, screw it, we're leaving that take in, I don't care. But I don't really think that this breaking down of words thing will really get you better grades in Japanese, or Japanese for that matter. Everything I just told you, itsumo, excruciating, I explained those 2 words in other words. I didn't necessarily take it to a lower level of understanding as I did simply explain it further within this medium that is words. And that's because there's really no way to communicate in a medium that is simpler than our words. When people ask me whether I think in words or sounds or pictures or puppies or whatever, I usually respond something along the lines of, I think in words, with an asterisk the size of Jupiter hanging above it. Because it's not linguistic thinking, it's semi-translinguistic thinking, I think. God, you know when you say a word so many times it just starts to become meaningless?
Like when Agatha just starts screaming about PewDiePie so loudly that you actually want to subscribe to Coco Melon just a little bit?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Look, you guys try living with Agatha, okay? It's not as entertaining the 450th time that week. Fun fact, It actually comes from the word for tongue, which is why we say things like mother tongue or native tongue. If you ever order a lingua anything from like a taco truck or something like that, then you'll know that it's literally just shredded beef tongue. But it's also where we get the word for the most basic form of human communication, which is arguably the most important invention ever created by humans ever. Semi or semi meaning an imitation of some kind. I'm sure I don't need to explain that. And trans, because this kind of thing shifts between languages and works between all languages. Translinguistic thinking, thinking between languages. Semi-translinguistic thinking, imitating thinking between languages.
What? Ash, you do realise that you have put the heat too damn high on this frying pan where you keep flipping our fucking heads, and now the oil has started to boil.
I think I've baked my brain into a mushy enough potato that I end up forgetting to turn the stove off a couple times. And maybe put your brains on there too. God, what is with these weird extended metaphors today? I used to be trilingual. Keywords, used to. Man, I peaked at age 4, didn't I? I was speaking English, Korean, and French, and now I only remember one of those? Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell have I become? Anyway, because I was flipping between languages so much as a kid, I never learned necessarily how to think in words, even though I don't think in sounds or pictures either. And maybe I just can't think, that's my secret. For a while, I thought I was the only person that thought like this, because I would say the first couple words of a phrase in my head and then just get this feeling that kind of internalized it for me without actually putting it into real words. I don't know how else to describe it other than it's kind of like the in-between point between a fully fledged out thought and a feeling. Because breaking one word into a million doesn't necessarily sound like it would help anybody, but to me it does, and to all the people that I've told this to, it seems to help them too. For one, it does help me remember the words, but I think it's more than that, because putting a concept into words will fundamentally change it. For example, when you draw something, I can guarantee it will never appear on paper exactly like you wanted it to. And that's not because you're a bad artist or anything, it's just that you don't necessarily think of the visual as you think of the abstract concept of a visual, which is not a visual thought, but at the same time is a visual thought. I know. I keep going back to this line in the Minecraft end poem, and it goes something like this. Sometimes the player read lines of code on a screen, decoded them into words, decoded words into meaning, decoded meaning into feelings, emotions, theories, ideas, and the player started to breathe faster and deeper, and it realized that it is alive. Words, like any other mode of communication, is a medium, just like music or painting or screw it, interpretive dance, goddammit. My channel consists largely of shower thoughts gone too far, and this is one that I always return to at 3 a.m. Sound is just wiggly air, but through them, we find a way to communicate semi-translinguistic concepts to one another whilst not having the full ability to truly comprehend what they actually are, because the medium has become so basic and so ingrained into the way human beings work. Words are mediums so basic, in fact, that they have been invented thousands of times over by thousands of separate groups on this giant ball of lava and dirt. Essentially, I just wanted to point out that words are a really weird thing that we humans do, but it's a really amazing and wonderful thing that we humans do, and we don't appreciate it enough these days. Because do I think that it's cool that my peers and my parents commend me for getting good grades in Japanese and English? Absolutely. But that's not the reason why I care so much about those subjects. I care about them because I understand just how weird words are, and I want to know about it. I'm in 8th grade. Everybody's getting worried about high school. Everybody's talking about what honors classes and what AP classes they want to take. Everybody's just obsessed with grades these days, trying to make themselves bigger by talking about all the A's that they got. But real learning is supposed to make you feel small. If you look up into the night sky and see endless stars and realize that the universe is truly infinite, what does an A+ in whatever subject or another matter? Real learning is supposed to make you feel small And that is what I hope to achieve by just constantly thinking about how weird and wonderful words are, how weird and wonderfully philosophical potatoes and bananas are, how interesting it is to debate over strange topics like which color is superior, to think endlessly about a YouTuber with a cringy outro. Kind of got a little bit sappy towards the end there, didn't I? I'm sure you can all tell that I deviated from the script. But thank you all so much for watching this video. I sincerely do hope you enjoyed it. These things are just, they just keep getting weirder and weirder by the second, but I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment what you thought of the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and please, please, please share these videos around with your friends if you want to support me, because the YouTube algorithm really, really hates small channels like mine. But until next time, this is PB Ash, signing off.